You know.
Jai Shri Narsingh Dev Bhagwan, Jai Shri Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Shri Guru Maharaj, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Giriraja Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Maharaj, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on the line, sparing your very valuable time. I see you on Zoom calls every day, probably twice, 3 times a day. So I really do appreciate you coming online. Maharaj, my name is Nabi Nandan. This is my Dharmapatni Jayanti Devi. And we warmly welcome you on behalf of the disciples of my God brothers and God sisters, disciples of His Holiness Krishna. We pay our humble obeisances onto your lotus feet. Mancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Maharaj, we generally have etiquette of introducing our guest speakers. Would you mind if we do that? Just there are a few congregation members who will not have seen you in the UK.
Yeah, you can introduce me.
So we're very, very fortunate to have His Holiness Giriraja Maharaj with us. Giriraja Maharaj is an initiating guru in the Hare Krishna movement. He joined the movement, please correct me if I'm wrong, over 50 years ago, and has been disciple of Srila Prabhupada, has taken to the sannyas order of life, the renounced order of life. So it's given up all material associations. Member of the GBC, the Governing Body Commission of ISKCON. And he had been serving for many, many, many years from the beginning in Juhu Temple. And this was one of the real great achievements of Srila Prabhupada to establish this temple. And Giriraja Maharaj played a huge role in getting that established. Currently, Maharaj is in Carpinteria in California. And he's the author of many books. And one of my favorite books is Watering the Seed. And in relation to His Holiness Krishna Swami Maharaj, they had a wonderful relationship. And I remember in the 80s, I can't remember exactly the date, but I remember Giriraj Maharaj, you coming to the UK, meeting Maharaj at Bhaktivedanta Manor, I think the room right at the top, the ashram,
Yeah.
and presenting Maharaj with a ticket. And I think he was shocked as anybody else. But I will leave the details for you to share with us, Maharaj. So I'd like to say thank you again, Maharaj. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai.
So it's a great honor and pleasure and privilege for me to be with all of you today for this wonderful occasion of remembering His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj. I could be speaking about him for hours, but I will I'll focus on a few aspects of his life and service. I think I'll begin. Of course, it's true. I first met Maharaj upstairs in Bhaktivedanta Manor. We would share a room that had several beds for brahmacharis and sannyasis. And I was intrigued by this elderly sadhu who actually had another guru before he met Srila Prabhupada, who was a Vaishnava, and then who came to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So, Krishna Das visited the, he was intrigued by the devotees. He would see them on Harinam. And so he visited their temple residence at Berry Place to see for himself. And after seeing the poor, austere conditions in which they lived, the way they toiled to promote knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and their sincerity in following the pillars of Dharma, no meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, he became convinced that this was a genuine spiritual movement that could transform the world. So he had accepted the invitation of the temple president, Vichitravirya Prabhu, who was actually also a good friend of Krishna Das Swami, who helped promote him in Krishna consciousness. So he accepted the temple president's invitation to give weekly classes on Vedic philosophy in Hindi to Indian audiences. And each day, his desire grew to meet the person responsible for all of this. He wanted to congratulate Srila Prabhupada for achieving what no other missionary of Sanatana Dharma had accomplished. Krishna Das saw Srila Prabhupada emerge like a golden light from the crowd. This was at the Rath Yatra. He was captivated by Prabhupada's dancing throughout the parade and could not see any sign of fatigue in Srila Prabhupada's frail, sick body. The young devotees could not even keep up with him. Krishnadas was then convinced that Srila Prabhupada could not be ordinary. When he saw Srila Prabhupada encircled by Western people from different faiths and backgrounds who did not know anything about Vedic religious principles or culture, but who are now embracing the highest form of God consciousness, he was convinced that there was no preacher of Dharma like Srila Prabhupada. Days passed, and Krishna Das could not stop thinking of meeting Srila Prabhupada. He had gone to Srila Prabhupada's door at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, only to be turned away by two strict guards. Krishna Das teased them. "You look as if you are the guards of the doors to Vaikuntha. Are you Jai and Vijay? But you are very fortunate that I am not one of the Kumaras, so I will not curse you." Still, feeling dejected and heartbroken, Krishnadas wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada, telling him how he had come to meet the devotees, how he had been giving classes at the Berry Place Temple, how he had seen Srila Prabhupada dance at the Rath Yatra, and how since he had read the front page headlines of the Guardian newspaper, Challenge to Nelson, and Srila Prabhupada mentions that in one of his purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which glorified the Rath Yatra festival, and his desire to meet Srila Prabhupada was increasing. Srila Prabhupada wrote back and humbly apologized for his disciples' behavior, welcoming him to visit him at any time. Krishnadas eagerly returned to Srila Prabhupada's door, only to be confronted by similar guards. But this time, Srila Prabhupada himself intervened and invited him into his room. Krishnadas did not know that meeting Srila Prabhupada face to face would change his life dramatically. Referring to the places of his and Srila Prabhupada's birth, he said, Srila Prabhupada, you are uniting the east and west of this world. And so I think our meeting is between the east and west of Bharata. When Srila Prabhupada heard about Krishnadas's life and activities to promote Sanatana Dharma, his face lit up. Then Srila Prabhupada became serious and said, you should join this movement and preach. Srila Prabhupada's request startled Krishnadas. He had come only to offer his respects and congratulate Srila Prabhupada for his achievements. But now he was being challenged. But I am already initiated in preaching, Krishnadas replied. I have been brought up as a missionary of Sanatana Dharma. So how can I join you and give that up? We are both preaching Sanatana Dharma, Srila Prabhupada answered, and we both belong to the Brahma Sampradaya. So why are we doing this separately? You will have all facility to preach. You simply come and join us. But how can I give up my Guru Maharaj? Krishnadas asked. When did I ask you to do that? Can a Vaishnav ask another Vaishnav to give up his Vaishnav Guru? I only ask you to please join me in spreading Sanatana Dharma, which you are already doing. Krishnadas was drawn to this dynamic personality, and he surrendered. I accept you as my Shiksha Guru. But if I come and join you, there must be some kind of spiritual relationship established. Yes, I accept, Srila Prabhupada said. A serious discussion followed, and eventually Srila Prabhupada suggested that Krishnadas leave his family and other responsibilities and take sannyas. Srila Prabhupada said that in time he would give him sannyas initiation. As Krishnadas was leaving, he said, I accept you as my sannyas guru. And Srila Prabhupada replied, I accept you as my sannyas disciple. But there is one more hitch, Srila Prabhupada. The scriptures say that before accepting someone as a Shiksha Guru, one must ask permission from the Diksha Guru. Srila Prabhupada agreed and asked Krishnadas to write his Diksha Guru right away. Krishnadas felt that he had come as a householder with a different intention, but now he was leaving as a sannyasi, ready to give his life to his new guru. He thought, in 1996, 1 year after Prabhupada left to the US, I left to the UK as a missionary of Sanatana Dharma and did not know about Srila Prabhupada's activities. Krishnadas received the permission of his Diksha Guru, who supported Krishnadas's joining Srila Prabhupada. And I remember Krishnadas Swami marveling at the greatness of Vaishnavas, that his Diksha Guru, without any sense of false proprietorship or sectarianism, gave him permission to join Srila Prabhupada. So with the combined blessings of Srila Prabhupada and his Diksha Guru, Krishnadas felt ready to execute the mission with renewed zeal. He quickly arranged for his family care and moved into the Berry Place Temple in April 1974. What followed were 4 decades of selfless service. Now, I had many, I invited Krishnadas Swami to come to South Africa and Mauritius, and he became a very powerful preaching force in both places. I remember the way he would preach against meat eating. He would use these phrases like sucking bones and drinking blood to to like startle his audience to understand what they were actually doing. And yeah, he was very effective. And I mean, I'm jumping ahead of myself a little, but towards the end, his health was weak. And he told me that, something miraculous would happen every time that he preached, every time he gave a talk. And that is that he would be infused by some tremendous power, and he wouldn't feel any physical weakness or ailment. And then as soon as the preaching was over, you would again, feel how sick his body actually was. But I would like to recall a very special meeting that I had with His Holiness Krishnadas Swami Maharaj in December 2009 at the home of his disciple Giriraja in Durban. I arrived at around 8 in the evening, and considering Maharaj's weak health, we imagined that the visit would last about 45 minutes. But it went on for 5 hours till past 1 the next morning. Maharaj, a gracious host, directed his disciples to bathe my feet and greet me with the Vedic etiquette for receiving a saintly guest. We sat next to each other on large chairs near the entrance to the house. We could see the family's altar to our left. So during this is also very instructive. So he had disciples there, and I had disciples there. So when they were coming forward to offer flower petals, there is a question to whom the devotee should offer the flower petals first. And Krishnadas Swami said they should offer them to me first. And because that was his order, so everyone followed. And afterwards I asked him, on what basis did you say that they should offer to me first? And then he quoted the Vedic aphorism, Atiti Devo Baho, that one should receive a guest like a god. And, I was so impressed by Krishnadas Swami's culture that I suggested he write a book about Vaishnava etiquette for ISKCON, because I felt that our devotees had so much to learn about Vaishnava culture and etiquette from him. And I also suggested that he write a book about his own life, so devotees could learn about him and be inspired by his example. But he was too humble. He said, that is not necessary. So yeah, coming back to our historic and memorable meeting at Atri Rishi Prabhu's home, Maharaj asked about my health, how I was managing it, and about my service. Then he described his own bodily challenges in detail, beginning with his cardiac bypass surgery in the late 80s. And I remember when I would meet him at the manor, he would talk about it. And he would say that these things are a result of mahapap, great sins created in one's past life. But I don't know if I accept that to be the case with him. He was a surrendered soul, and I think it was Krishna's mercy, perhaps. And so coming back to Acharishi Prabhu's home, Maharaj recollected how I invited him to preach in South Africa and Mauritius, which was the beginning of his relationship with the projects and devotees in the Southern Hemisphere. He also spoke about his life in Krishna consciousness when he was a child, being trained by his maternal grandfather. And he used to say how his guru, and he himself also would think that, Kali Yuga is very bad. Kali Yuga is so bad. And that was way back, I think in the 1930s. And he would say, we had no idea how bad Kali Yuga was going to get. I mean, we were saying, Kali Yuga is so bad, Kali Yuga is so bad. But we had no idea how bad it would become. So after about 2 hours, he asked to speak with me privately. And all the devotees left to other parts of the house. Maharaj shared with me some of the difficulties he was facing with some of his disciples and praised the good work of others. I mean, I don't want to embarrass anyone, but one disciple whom he always praised was Abhinanda Prabhu. This point is coming here. He also told me how sick he felt, but added that when he preached, he felt energy or power that was beyond him, which continued as long as he was speaking. And then afterwards, he would go back to feeling weakened, sick. We also discussed his view of Bharat, because this was an issue in some people's minds. So I brought it up. So we also discussed his view of Bharat, commonly known as India, a word that he rejected, always insisting that people say Bharat. Because of Maharaj's emphasis on Bharat, Some devotees thought that he was an Indian nationalist, and sometimes that thought also crossed my mind until this meeting. But he explained that by Bharat, he did not mean the land of India. Rather, he meant the ideal of what Bharat was meant to be, perfectly following Vedic culture and perfectly Krishna conscious. So that explanation clarified much for me. Our private meeting lasted for 2 hours. Then, after we honored prasad together, then after midnight, we honored prasad together. And Swarup Damodar Prabhu, my disciple who's a leader in Durban, who had accompanied me, later told me that Maharaj was very inspired by my visit and would often refer to it when they met. His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj was one of the greatest men, greatest devotees I have ever met. He used all his energy, every ounce, up till the end, to glorify Lord Krishna and the Vaishnava principles and preach Krishna consciousness and Vedic culture, to encourage devotees and serve Srila Prabhupada's mission in far-flung parts of the world. Although while preaching he could be ferocious, he otherwise had a fatherly or grandfatherly way about him. Thus he reminded me of Lord Nrsingadev. And when I joined, you were singing the Nrsingadev prayers. And so those prayers actually remind me of Krishna Das Swami in a way. So he reminded me specifically of a verse written by the great Bhagavatam commentator Sridhar Swami, which was on Srimad Bhagavatam 791, which is the story of Prahlad and Hiranyakasipu and Nrsingadev. And that verse goes, Ugro Pyanugra evayam sabhaktinam keshari vasapotanam anyesham ugra vikrama. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. So that verse reminded me of His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj, because he could be so ferocious as a preacher, but so soft and kind to his devotees, to Prabhupada's devotees. It was appropriate that Maharaj left his body in the precincts of Vrindavan. I remember he was in New Delhi taking treatment, but then it became apparent that he wasn't going to recover. And so the devotees, rushed him in a car so that he could be in Vrindavan for the end. And he just reached. So it was appropriate that he left his body in the precincts of Vrindavan, from where he could easily join Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna and their devotees in his next life. We miss him. He was a lion among preachers. But we are confident that he is with us when we remember him, like now, on this occasion. We are confident that he is with us when we remember him and try to serve his instructions, his mission, his devotees, his projects, and all that was dear to him. And so my prayer to Maharaj on this occasion is, please put in a good word for me with Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna, so that when I finish my service to them here, I can join you all there. So after my meeting with Krishna Das Swami at Achirishi Prabhu's place, I recalled his emphasis on the phrase Dridavrataha, which means very determined, which he was. And so when we met, he spoke about his long, glorious life as a devotee and a preacher, and said that with all the obstacles and opposition one faces, unless one is very determined, Dridavrata, this is an instruction for all of us, unless one is very, very determined, Dridavrata, one cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. And in the end, he looked at me with such love in his eyes that I will never forget. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to do here. I mean, I could speak about Maharaj's achievements. Yeah, he did a lot of wonderful things in Mauritius. He got the area where the ISKCON Vedic farm is, he got that officially renamed to Vrindavan. And yeah, it was, you know, so good. It was so good working with him. I remember once, in a way, it might have been an odd compliment, but he was sitting with the elderly Gujarati sannyasi Mahavishnu Goswami in Durban. I think maybe they were at a table, and so Krishna Das Swami said to Mahavishnu Goswami, referring to me, he's not like the others. I guess meaning I was more Indian or more cultured. But it was a compliment, and I still remember it after all these years. So I guess we could, as I said, of course I could speak more, but maybe we can open it up, because I'm sure other devotees have remembrances and reflections that they might like to share, or questions that they would like to ask. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Really wonderful. You actually brought him right in front of us. sometimes we don't see him all the time, but you have brought him right in front of us today. So I really appreciate your
I'm glad.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful pravachana. I think, yes, if devotees would like to ask Maharaj question, that would be really nice.
There's a nice photo. I actually should get it. I should get it printed. But we called it the Six Goswamis of South Africa.
I've got it. Yeah.
And it was Krishnadas Swami and yes, Bhakti True Maharaj, Indradumya Swami, me, and I think Bhakti Chaitanya Swami.
Pinasota.
That much.
That's all right. Okay, so so I guess if someone wants to say something, they can raise their hands or something like that. And as a request to the devotees who have joined this Zoom, please, if possible, put on your videos.
Yes.
So we can see you live and it'll be more personal.
Yes. It's so strange, Maharaj. Whenever we have these Zoom calls, nobody puts their picture. And we're supposed to be preaching personalism, totally against impersonalism, but we never see anyone.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried they look ugly, but there's nobody's uglier than I am. At least my body anyway.
You're not ugly. None of them are ugly.
No, they're not. They're beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
we should be able to see their moon-like faces.
Vasudev Prabhu, you have something for Maharaj?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Giriraja Maharaj. Please accept our humble obeisances of Lord Prabhupada. Thank you very much for that wonderful talk and remembrances of Srila Krishnadas Maharaj. It's quite a confidential question, and I don't know if you're happy to answer it, but on the departure of Srila Krishnadas Maharaj, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, he wrote a very nice glorification where he mentioned you were with himself and Krishnadas Maharaj, and Krishnadas Maharaj revealed a special pastime that happened when he was very young in Vrindavan, where he had darshan of Krishna. I just wondered if you're able to elaborate on that wonderful story so we could hear it from your lips, because you were here, you heard it directly from him.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking of mentioning Krishnadas Swami's visit to Vrindavan, although I don't think I could elaborate on the darshan part. But as a youth, his guru brought a group of devotees to Vrindavan, and Krishnadas Swami loved it. And one little thing I remember, which he mentioned to me, was that the people riding bicycles or rickshaws in Vrindavan, instead of ringing the bell or, tooting the horn, they would say Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
And he loved that. He loved that as I said, that to alert people that there was a bicycle or a rickshaw coming. They wouldn't, you know, ring the bell like usual or toot the horn, but they'd just say Radhe, Radhe. So, yeah, he loved Vrindavan. Yeah, well, I can't say more about the darshan of Krishna, but yeah, I don't doubt it in the least.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, were there any pastimes of, I know you mentioned that in terms of the seriousness of his preaching, but were there any humorous pastimes that you can share with us, with Maharaj?
What do you mean by humorous?
I know whenever I was with him, there would always be something that would happen, which he would find funny me doing, or I would find funny him doing. And
why don't you tell us one or two of those?
okay, one time, this I haven't shared actually with many devotees. I don't think I've even shared it with Jayanti. One time we were going to South London Temple, and it so happened that we were stuck in a traffic jam, and the car before us had stalled. The battery wasn't working. So I was saying to Mara, we'll just have to sit here, you know. And he was making funny remarks that you want to sit here. We've got a temple full of devotees, and you want to sit here. So I thought, what should we do, Maharaj? You know, we stuck. So he got out of the car. He indicated to me, get out of the car. And he said, let's go and talk to the driver and let's give him a push. Can you believe this? He
Wow.
was, this was probably about coming on to 20 years ago. But and literally the driver said, okay, give me a hand. Let's see if we can get this car going. And funny thing was, we both were behind this car. It was quite a big car. But he was a lot stronger than I was. Right? And then he would tease me afterwards that you need to eat some paneer, you know. He pushed, I pushed, got the car started. And
Wow.
on time for the temple pravachan. It was extraordinary. I haven't shared that with many devotees because it was just confidential between me and him. But seeing you speak, I felt inspired to share this. But
Yeah, I'm glad you did. That's a very historic incident. How determined he was and how ingenious.
yeah.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Yeah. How about one more?
Oh, there's so many. I remember one train journey. Oh, yes. From Punjab to New Delhi. So every time we have a train journey, we always meet some interesting characters. And he loved to preach. He would love to preach on train journeys. He would sit with the people and they would absolutely fall in love with him. Invariably, we would meet, you know, people who believed in the impersonal form of the Lord. I am going to become God. Yeah. And one time I was preaching, he was watching me preach. And he was giving me hints what to say. But this Mayavadi personality was very fixed in his determination that I am going to become God. So I snapped. I said to him, okay, you want to become God? I'm going to become more than God. And Maharaj, he laughed and he laughed. And I could hear him laughing. You know? I said, Maharaj, I'm serious. I'm going to become more than God. So then the Mayavadi asked, how are you going to do that? So then we had the picture of Mother Yashoda chasing after Krishna. So I showed it to him. I said, who's God in this picture? Oh, Krishna. Really? So how come he's running scared of his mother? So who's more than God? Krishna? Who's more stronger, mother or Krishna? he had to concede. It's the mother, because Krishna is running away. So in that, Maharaj would laugh and laugh on that one. He would laugh at me for being so stupid in bringing up such an argument like that. But
Oh, that was brilliant. I mean, that Srila Prabhupada said the same thing. We can become more than God. Exactly. Nice. If I might, I would like to call on Nikunja Vilasini.
Mm.
If she wants, because she wrote a whole article about His Holiness Krishna Das Swami for Back to Godhead magazine. It was a wonderful article. And her mother, Ananda Manjari Devi Das, is a very devoted disciple of His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj. So if you feel you can contribute something to the discussion, we would be happy.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I have so many wonderful, wonderful memories of Maharaj. Even with writing that article, there were so many, not obstacles, but it was difficult to do, to encapsulate such an amazing personality in a few pages. And when I approached Nagaraj Prabhu about doing an article for Back to Godhead, he first said that we cannot just do run memorials on every devotee that passes away. And then when I explained to him about, and he did acknowledge that Maharaj was such a great personality. And then eventually he did agree. And then when I wrote, I wrote so many pages more than, or so many words more than I was supposed to. And then he, he said, okay, you can cut it down a bit. And then I tried to, and I pleaded with him to please allow, another 1,000 words. And so it was going back and forth. And so many even devotees were trying to help and send information. And I was trying to, do research. And it was like a whole big project. And at every moment I felt that Maharaj was behind me, not just to glorify himself, but I felt that, he just didn't want himself to be glorified, but he wanted devotees to see, see from where he was coming, and how broad-minded Srila Prabhupada was to accept him and to embrace him in the family of ISKCON. And how he surrendered his life as an example to us, and also to serve and preach amid all kinds of obstacles, which I tried to relate, in the article, how Maharaj was so, amidst all kinds of obstacles, even within ISKCON and externally as well, that he never deterred in his efforts to preach Krishna consciousness and to give himself fully to Prabhupada's mission. And always in the front of his mind, he would always, even encourage all his disciples never to leave ISKCON, no matter how much the boat of ISKCON may rock or, be faced with so many different obstacles or external problems, but challenges, but to just remain on the boat of Srila Prabhupada. And even after I wrote the article, I felt his presence a lot, and that's how his mood was. He always reciprocated with everything, anything small that we did, he would make it very big. Even when Sundarananda was serving him many years ago, and you actually gave him to Maharaj's service, and Maharaj was always very grateful for that service that he did. And every time that we would go to hear one of his pravachans and Sundarananda would enter, he would stop in the middle of any lecture and just welcome us and welcome Sundarananda. And then he would give another lecture of how he used to serve him so wonderfully in those days. And he would recall different things and different nice pastimes of Sundarananda serving him. So he was always very grateful, whatever little we did for him. And even for that article, even after he left, I felt that he was pleased because he even tried to reciprocate with me in a dream, and in the dream I was listening over a radio, and he was speaking on the radio, and he was saying, and somebody was speaking about the first someone was speaking about the article, and Maharaj was on the radio as well, and he was saying Jai Nikunj, he used to call me Nikunj. So even for that small service that I did, which is for my eternal benefit, he was so kind and so magnanimous, in accepting that service and reciprocating as he always did. I'm remembering also the last time that I was with him was in his Vyasa Puja, and I think in 2016 or 2015. And I sang some verses from the Ramayana for him. He loved to hear the Ramayana and pastimes of Ram, and with different bhajans that we would like to sing for him, because he really appreciated the deep, beautiful meanings of these songs that we could not even translate into English. And I recited a few verses. And at that time, Maharaj was he was quite ill and quite weak. He was gone very weak. And as he said, but when he spoke on the Vyasa-san, he became like a lion. So when I recited one verse, and then I also gave the meaning of that verse, Maharaj stopped me and he corrected something from that verse. It was just a word or something, but he made sure to correct me so that it would be perfect. And I was so amazed that he picked up such a thing. I thought he was quite ill and weak, and he wasn't so present at that moment, but actually he was so conscious of every single thing, even at the right at the end, so conscious of the details of everything, of every Krishna conscious mantra and anything that from the scriptures, verses, he would know. He knew everything and was fully conscious. So I was just so amazed that he was able to inspire us and engage us and correct us even right till the end. and was really like a loving grandfather to us all. So we also really miss him.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
would
Hare
like
Krishna.
to say a few more things. I mean, technically our time is up, so I don't know if we have any leeway, but I would like a few more minutes.
Absolutely, Maharaj. Absolutely no
No
problem.
time limit.
There's no time limit, actually.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I also remember his talks on the Ramayana because I didn't know much about the Ramayana. And I was enthralled when he would give lectures at the Radharadhanath temple about the Ramayana and how he would say the Ramayana is full of ideals, you know. But another thing that I wanted to mention was that even though he had, surrendered fully to Srila Prabhupada in service to ISKCON, he continued to do service for his guru's ashram, which I thought was very good. It showed his loyalty and his gratitude towards his guru. And as I recall, he made contributions to serve the cows at his guru's ashram. And cows, it's like His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj was such a loyal follower and advocate of Sanatana Dharma, and cows are so important in Sanatana Dharma. So he also did service for the cows at his guru's ashram, which I thought was wonderful.
I was just listening a couple of days ago to a lecture by Bhakti Raghav Swami. He must have given that lecture some time ago because it's on YouTube. But he was saying, and this very much reminded me of Guru Maharaj. He was saying, Krishna loves cows. Krishna sees cows in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Krishna can't live without cows. He was making this very strong point that how, if we love Krishna, but we don't think about cows, then how can we say we're lovers of Krishna? Because Krishna can't live without cows. And when he was speaking like this, tears were coming from his eyes. And I remember one time when this whole horrible thing was going on with Gomata in Bharat, they would put chilies in the eye, chili powder in the eyes, and so many horrible things they were doing to Gomata. And Guru Maharaj would similarly have these tears. I would be quite amazed to see these tears because hardly you never see him cry. But when he was with Gomata, when he was something to do with Gomata, he'd just become a baby and start crying. So this Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj was giving this amazing class, and I was thinking, you're absolutely right. We hardly think of Gomata, and Krishna's always thinking of Gomata. And Guru Maharaj, you're absolutely right. He's done an amazing service to his Guru Maharaj by looking after Gomatas. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for your contribution on the subject.
Madhu Mangal, Madhu Sudan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki
On
jai.
the call, Madhu Sudan Prabhu is probably the most senior disciple of Guru Maharaj.
Oh,
I wouldn't say senior, there are a lot of people, a lot of other disciples and devotees have given wonderful service to Guru Maharaj and to Prabhupada. And I've just had a wonderful opportunity just to associate with Krishna's Maharaj and him taking someone worthless, someone like me, under his shelter in Coventry. And in Coventry, we did a lot of service. Guru Maharaj played a very big role. And what I would like to say is that in Coventry, there was one wonderful Mataji who, before we even knew Krishna's Maharaj coming, he wasn't an initiating guru at that time, but this Mataji, she had 2 children. They were very young. Her husband passed away, but she had gone to the manor. And in this, I'm talking about, this must be in the 1970s, when the manor was just beginning to open up and was being established, and Maharaj was giving classes there. And this Mataji met Guru Maharaj, had invited him to Coventry, to her place, and did a program. I didn't know Krishna Maharaj then, but this Mataji had, so once she met Krishna's Maharaj at the manor, she came back and she changed her life completely, stopped all the other meat eating, all that sort of thing that went on in the family, but she surrendered completely and taken shelter of Krishna's Maharaj. And he came, well, later on, I don't know exactly when, but at some point, a few months later, she asked Krishna's Maharaj to install deities at her place. They were the first deities installed. They're still there, not very far from where I lived. The Mataji, her name was Vishnu Priya. She took initiation. And in the temple where we established the temple, we named the kitchen after her name, like Vishnu Priya's kitchen, because she was a wonderful cook. And she would, we used to do Namhata programs every Saturday in different people's houses. That's how we started in Coventry. And, you know, I'd taken initiation from Bhagwan early. And then when he left, then I associated and taken shelter of Krishna's Maharaj. So that was my initial kind of meeting with Maharaj. But I had even met him before at the manor. He used to give classes on Sunday. So I listened to a few of his classes. But what I wanted to say is that how he had so much compassion and so much mood to preach Sanatana Dharma, that in Coventry, that was the first kind of temple and the deities installed by Maharaj. And then they're still there. Her daughter, she got initiated as well by Krishna's Maharaj. She looks after the deities and she serves them. And it's a shame that we don't actually appreciate that and associate and have darshan now and then. But that's what Maharaj did. And actually, when Krishna's Maharaj used to come and we used to invite and do programs, Vishnu Priya's house was always open whenever we stuck for a venue. So she would allow, you know, any time for the program to go ahead and allow her kitchen to be made into a, you know, prasadam and everything. So we used to love that. And, you know, once we had established a little center here, all of a sudden she passed away at one point. And I remember Maharaj present and did all the ceremony of, you know, passing away when the body comes home and all that. And then Maharaj was present there. He did all that for her. And you know, we obviously, I can remember her cremation time, and we went to, you know, doing her, kirtan at the crematorium and everything. But Maharaj, you know, did all that for that family, and was so forgiving and so understanding, and so much with the Bharatiya culture. And he always told us never to say, "You're going to India." you're going to Bharat. You never say you're an Indian, you're a Bharatiya. He told us from the very, very beginning, even this is going back, you know, I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago. He would never allow us to say India at all. So, and then one thing is definite, that when we heard about him being invited to South Africa, we were so pleased when he used to come back to Coventry and tell us about what's going on in South Africa and how he had met Giriraja Maharaj. And we used to really appreciate it. And so it was so motivating and enthusiastic for us to listen to the progress being made in South Africa, and how, you know, wonderful service. Maharaj used to love you, and then all the other devotees. I know there are pictures of him with Nelson Mandela and time in Mauritius. And so, you know, Maharaj, you would come and stay at my house a few times. You stayed at, and then one night, when you say humorous event, he's so humble, Maharaj. You know, my body is just, I just put a mattress on the floor, and he would just say he's happy with it. He said, "No, I want to sleep here. I don't want to go into the bedroom, or I don't want a bed. Just put me a mattress here." And he would just, we would just sit there chatting away for a long time into the night. And then one night, we were just talking about different devotees and how things happen like Prahlad Maharaj is a devotee of Krishna and other devotees. But so I made a comment like, you know, I suppose Maharaj, you know, Krishna has to have his Leela. So this is devotee Leela as well. And he started laughing that, you know, I came out with a comment like devotee Leela. Yeah, devotees have to have their Leela, you know, in different ways. So he started laughing so much. I've never seen him laugh like that, you know, like a child. You know, he's such a simple, you know, personality. But so I've had, you know, it's been wonderful. And I've read your book, Watering the Seed, and I've followed your progress. I've been to Juhu Beach Temple, and I've always knew, and in the biography, you know, how it's mentioned, how Prabhupada struggled very much to establish the Juhu Beach Temple, and you played a very big role. And, you know, with mosquito-ridden whole area, and you would live in your simple tents and putting up all the hardships. And that was the foundations of the Juhu Beach Temple. And then when I read the biography, I always wanted to visit that temple and walk on the same beach as Prabhupada walked. So that was my inspiration from the biography. But it's been wonderful to see you serving Srila Prabhupada in a big way and being so closely associated with Krishna Das Maharaj. This is my Dharmapatni. So, yeah. So thank you very much for allowing me to say this, but we've had wonderful time. And Maharaj, you know, when we set up the center here, there's a picture ingrained in my head, in my mind, about how Guru Maharaj was holding a hammer and helping us chip away at the brickwork. He said, I would never hold another hammer again, but this is the only time when he's serving Krishna, I would pick up a hammer. So that was some moments like that we spent in Coventry. He also installed the Gaur-Nitai deities in Coventry along with Shivram Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you, Nabi. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That was like a stream of nectar. And I also visited Coventry, mainly because of Krishna Das Swami. although he wasn't there when I went, but I knew it was an important place for him, so I also visited. And I forget the names of that couple. The husband used to work for Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, it's Haridas and
Yeah.
Prem Manjari. Maharaj always used to stay at his abode, his residence, and they served Guru Maharaj. And it was a very close friend of mine, Haridas. We both went to school together in Africa.
Oh.
We knew each other a lot, and then we started serving in Coventry and established the center. So we used to knock on doors and hold Harinam programs every Saturday. Eventually, we managed to buy that building and turn it into a center and a temple, and did all the hard materialistic work on it, like brickwork and putting tiles and new windows and this and that and everything. So, but Maharaj was always there. I've got some pictures, and there must be a lot of pictures of so many devotees who came forward to give us support. And we did dramas, you know. My son was only very young, and he would love watching the children do drama, Ramayan dramas, and on Diwali days or Janmashtami days. So, yeah, thank you.
Maharaj, this is the picture you were referring to.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
The 6 Goswamis.
Oh,
Thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
that's an amazing picture. Amazing picture. Sure. You both look so amazing, yeah?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Haribol.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
thank
glories to Giriraja Swami.
Maharaj ki
All
jai.
glories to Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you very, very much, Maharaj, for taking out this time and being with us and bringing Maharaj with you to us.
Yeah, my heart is filled with joy with all these nice remembrances of His Holiness Krishna Das Swami Maharaj. And yeah, I feel he's smiling and beaming down upon us. Yeah, thank you for organizing this.
Thank you for Maharaj joining us, because I know you have a very busy schedule. So I'm actually amazed that you spared us this time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So if we're going to end now, I would suggest that we conclude with Vaishnav Pranam.
Yes.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpa trubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Hey.
Srila Krishna Das Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. His Holiness Giriraja Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very, very much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I will send you an email, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Oh yeah, we've got another program now. Because of the Purushottam month, we do evening Zoom calls to different
Some
homes,
satsangs.
different satsangs every night. It's actually much. I was just saying to Jayanti, normally we would spend 1.5 hours traveling to a place, do a satsang, and come back another hour, hour and a half, 3 hours gone like that. But now on Zoom, we spend 2 minutes connecting, 2 minutes disconnecting. For the rest of the time, no traveling. It's just satsang. We're saving so much time.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
It's the Lord's mercy. So we, I don't know, devotees may just continue a little bit with Nishinga prayers and Nishinga Kavach, Maharaj. So,
Sure.
oh, okay. Will you stay, Maharaj?
Yeah, I could stay for the Nishinga prayers.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Maharaj. Atma, would you like to lead the prayers? Ah, great. And I've got a better version of Mayapur than you, just to let you know, huh? It's the more built-up one. Atma Darshini Maharaj is probably one of the best kirtaniyas in the world, in my estimation, because she is so glorious. You're muted, by the way. Is she?
No,
Oh,
she's
not
muted. She's not saying anything.
You just don't say anything.
Krishna Singadev Bhagavan Jai. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Dayani. Prahlad Dayani. Hiranyakashipurbhakshaha. Hiranyakashipurbhakshaha. Shrivatankanakalaye. Shrivatankanakalaye. Gita Nrsimha Bharata Nrsimha. Gita Nrsimha Bharata Nrsimha. Yata Yata Yami Tata Nrsimha. Yata Yata Yami Tata Nrsimha. Mahi Nrsimha, Hridaye Nrsimha. Mahi Nrsimha, Hridaye Nrsimha. Narasimhamatim Sharanam Prapade. Narasimhamatim Sharanam Prapade. Savatara Kamalavare Nato Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipa Tanubhinga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Savatara Kamalavare Nato Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipa Tanubhinga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. Esharadita Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Nishingadev Bhagwan ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Guru Maharaj ki jai, His
Jai.
Holiness Giriraj Maharaj ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
There's a very nice comment from Ananga Manjari Maharaj, which says, I really felt emotional when Giriraj Maharaj spoke, felt Guru Maharaj's presence. It was beautiful. I think that sums it up absolutely. I think everybody's feeling exactly the same.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
You made a very special evening for us, Maharaj, and I'd like to thank you again, and our heartfelt happiness that we're feeling is due to your kindness. So.
Well, Guru Maharaj's mercy.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare,
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hate to end a call with 52 people, devotees. We usually wait until the last person goes, and even then we don't end the call. So I suspect we're going to be here for a while. Actually, the times we're getting so much association of devotees from all around the world. It's the most exhilarating experience we're having during this, I dare to say, wonderful pandemic virus going on. Maharaj, as a matter of interest, how many Zoom calls have you done over the last 6 months?
Oh, I haven't kept count. But this was definitely one of the best.
I bet you say that on every Zoom call, Maharaj.
No, it's the first time I've said it.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Maharaj. Wow. Thank you very, very much. No, it's very, very sweet. Very, very sweet.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
will have to move along now.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, love to see you again. Hari Bol.
Yeah. Everything is mutual.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hari Bol.
Perhaps we can organize.
Thank you, Nabi, for
Yeah. No, it's fine.
bringing on Maharaj.
Yes. It'd be nice actually, Maharaj. We'll work something out. Hare Krishna, Karuna.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much.
Thank you, Atri. Are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Hari Bol to all.
Thank you very much. Very good, very good. You're looking decent now.
By the mercy of Giriraja Swami Maharaj, at least we had a chance to serve a sadhu and learn from him. For that, we are eternally indebted to His Holiness Giriraja Swami Maharaj.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank Maharaj.
You should have said
Okay.
that while he was there, while he was with us. You should have,
I'm sure.
yeah, you should have, because, gratitude is very important. To relay that to Maharaj himself would have been good. But yeah, I
If you
have
can
the
send a
point.
message to Maharaj, then that would be nice.
No, thank you. Well done, Atri. So hopefully we'll see you a little bit more, do you think? Or too busy at the moment?
No, little less busier.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Haribol Nabi.
Hare Krishna, Madhusan Babu. Hare Krishna. Kamakshi Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. See
Yeah.
you tomorrow.
Yeah. And to be on out of the top of my head, that was so.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Maharaj likes interaction.
Yeah.
More devotees don't do it. It's like Bhakti Rasayan Maharaj said, everybody likes to keep quiet because if you open your mouth, you might get criticized.
No. No. They're saying you
or you don't want to say something wrong to offend anybody.
Yeah, but the intention is never there to offend.
No.
You never, there's never any intention to offend anybody.
No, if you got something good to say, you say it. And if you don't have any good to say, don't say it.
Yeah, that's what Guru Maharaj used to say. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what you're the next.
Thank you for joining yesterday. Was it okay, that format that we use? We just keep it simple. Bhajan, chapter 15. We talk about.
Yeah, that little girl was.
That was
fantastic.
good. She was good with chapter 15.
She can do it
chapter
properly.
15. Yeah. And the mantras, and then reading the text in English, and that was good. And 15 is small chapter. You can go through it fairly quickly as well.
Yeah.
Like that. So the format was good.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, we keep it simple. There's some other bhajans we can do complicated, but it's too hard, So let's keep. Yeah. Okay. Nice one.
Okay. Nice anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Uddhav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I was about to log off.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Okay.
Little ones are sleeping?
No, one of them is sleeping, one of them is awake, and the third one is here.
Oh my God. Are you the third one, or is she the third one?
He's the first one, actually. Yeah, I mean.
Nice. Very good. Janaki. Jahnavi.
Jahnavi, yes.
Jahnavi. I remember Jahnavi every time I take a bath. My last stop is Jahnavi Devi. When I take a shower. Very good. That was nice, huh? We've taped it, so it's on YouTube.
Yes.
So, have I stopped it?
No, you haven't. It's still recording.